Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tony Whitbeck. I'm the CEO of Advisor Legacy. And with me today is Ben Thalen, and Ben is our Vice President of Business Development. And Ben's going to be taking you through the vast majority of the content. As you can see, the content is on coaching and the coaching services that we offer. So we really appreciate you attending today's presentation, and hopefully you're going to learn a lot more about what we do and how we can help you with your business. All of the telephone lines have been muted. And so if you have some questions, we're going to have a Q&A section at the end. But what I would suggest is when you have a question during the presentation, go to the Zoom control panel and type in the question either in the Q&A section, or you can do it in the chat section as well. And then when we get to the end, we'll have some questions that are already queued up, and we can jump right into answering those questions. So the first thing I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about us and who we are as a firm, Advisor Legacy. Well, as a firm, we help financial advisors build what we call is a legacy firm. And a legacy firm is a firm that's going to be defined by what happens after the founder isn't there. We help firms scale without chaos, operate without founder dependency, and protect the value in the clients. We want to build enduring firms with documented systems, with leadership depth, transferable enterprise value, and continuity. You can see that we've worked with over 2,000 financial advisors. We've been doing this for over 20 years. In the M&A space, we've transitioned more than $15 billion worth of assets. And really, our mantra is to help advisors build, live, and leave a legacy. On the build side, you can see we're focused on systems and leadership and enterprise value. On the live, we want to make sure that the business isn't founder dependent, so it's founder independent, that the firm has leadership capacity and there's lifestyle alignment. In other words, the firm doesn't control you, but you control the firm. The outcome would be a firm that supports your lifestyle. And ultimately, every practice is going to get to a point where they want to leave a legacy. And that's our job, is to help you build a legacy firm. So we do succession planning and ownership transition and client continuity or continuity plans. And so ultimately, we help firms create a firm that will out or endure beyond you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ben, and he's going to take us through the coaching that we're going to talk about today. And again, if you would please put down any questions you have in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll cover them at the end. So Ben?
Thanks, Tony, and welcome everyone to today's presentation on Advisor Legacy's coaching services. As most of you probably know, the role of a coach is, in the most general sense, to help someone to achieve the goals that are most important to them. And, it could be a growth goal, maybe something business related. It could even be something personal as well. And as Tony mentioned, our team has been coaching financial advisory practices for over 20 years. And we've had the privilege to help hundreds of advisors and their teams to achieve some really truly incredible goals through coaching. And, we've helped advisors to scale their practices through our operations coaching service. We've provided coaching to support team members to help them develop within their career path to become managers and even business owners. We've also coached junior advisors on how to build their book of business through organic and strategic client acquisition. And we've also had the chance to help owners to double, triple, and even quadruple their practice size by receiving industry-specific guidance from our executive coaches. And though these are just a few of the examples that we've helped our clients through coaching, I thought what I'd do is just highlight some of the frameworks that we follow for our coaching. And first is that we help to create clarity for our advisors. And sometimes that might be clarity in where to focus. And other times it's helping them to define their vision. We also help practices to develop structure within their business, which sometimes means implementing systems, processes, it could be workflows, things of that nature to help them create consistency and scale. Another framework is that we focus on skill development, whether that be, maybe a technical skill, it could be a soft skill. Ultimately, we provide leadership that's specific to meeting a client with where they're at with their skill set. And we've also focused heavily on execution because coaching is only as valuable as the progress that we're making to achieve that client's goals. And last, but certainly not least, is we're always results focused because coaching can often have a feelings-based approach to it, but we're always mindful of the results that are most meaningful to the advisor that we're working with, whether it's hitting certain profit goals, achieving specific business growth goals, or supporting with practice acquisitions. The first of our three coaching programs is our executive coaching service, and this service tends to be for the executives of the practice, such as the business owner, lead advisors, or other C-suite executives within the business. It typically covers many key areas like leadership, accountability, visionary thinking, and goal achievement to help the practice to achieve its objectives. And when we work with an executive coaching client, we tend to model our focus based on what you see on the screen here, which are the five key areas of practice management. And the first one is your vision, where we use what's called our business journey tool to design your ideal practice journey and incorporate all your short and long-term objectives so that we're always mindful of your North Star. We also provide you with coaching on how to lead and manage your people. It's often a lost element to, an advisor trying to build and scale their practice. And it comes down to guiding on how to grow your practice by hiring and training effectively and ultimately sharing strategies on how to manage your people to support your practice goals. The third item you see here is our operations pillar, which is, and our goal is to help you model your practice to have the right systems and processes that align directionally with where your practice is headed. And in a big way, and you'll see this expanded upon with our operations coaching service, is that that tends to be the main pain point that prevents practices from scaling and breaking through that ceiling is setting systems and processes that can really grow and build beyond the founder. We also ensure that growth is a main area of focus in our executive coaching. Many advisors come to us because they've reached that ceiling that I just referenced, and we'll coach them through roadblocks that they run into as they scale. We also will focus on growth activities such as, that organic client acquisition that I talked about and really honing in on what that means for the current marketplace, but also helping them to be great buyers and acquirers of practices, which, as you may know, is a big piece of what we do at Advisor Legacy. And what we want to ultimately do is help advisors be better buyers. Lastly, is that we help practices to model and achieve their ideal legacy. And this means different things to different people, but our goal is always to help advisors to leave their legacy in a way that is most meaningful to them. And, whether that's an internal sale to your next generation advisor, maybe leaving your clients in a better spot than you found them, or even helping your team member to achieve, goals that are more important to them. And we always want to be mindful of helping practices to achieve the legacy that brings fulfillment to their career. So the structure of our executive coaching program is that, ultimately we meet with our clients on a biweekly basis for 1 hour each session. And what this allows us to do is to laser in on the most important objectives during each meeting and then allow for time to process what was discussed, handle any action items, and be prepared to move the ball forward during the next session 2 weeks after. We also have a group coaching piece to this program where once a month, our executive coaching clients are invited to participate in a 1 hour peer-to-peer session. And during these sessions, we bring topics that are timely in the industry, and a coach shares best practices on how to navigate that specific issue or pain point. And what we found is it allows for others to share their strategies in a high performance setting and allows others to learn from them as well. Lastly, and the other key element to our executive coaching is that we do provide an annual complimentary business valuation for the advisors that are engaged in this program. And, what this ultimately allows us to do is ensure that, we're mindful of the financial components of running your business and assessing the practice against things like industry benchmarks and, your profitability, your segmentation. We have a trademarked max val predictor that's included in that valuation as well to ultimately help you grow in the objective components of building the practice. And ultimately, the fee for this program is $1,500 per month. So our next program is our operations coaching service. And just like it sounds, this service is designed to help practices to optimize their overall operational structure. This could include client procedural processes. It could be technology systems, maybe how to structure workflows. It could also be, and in many ways, to define team members' roles and responsibilities, build model weeks, just have general documentation within the practice, because all this really ties back to the objective of trying to scale. The key areas that we tend to focus on is to create consistency and the client experience that you provide, which, believe it or not, is a big pain point for a lot of the practices that come to us, is that, a lot of it has been very ad hoc in nature as they've grown, and we help to create that consistency and repeatability in how that experience is provided from the prep side all the way to the meeting follow-up and everything in between. Another element to the services that we will provide documented and streamlined workflows for all your processes, like I said, such as, meeting prep and follow-up, but also things like financial planning and scheduling, meeting confirmations, business processing, how you do your transactions, and everything in between. So, if you're a practice that maybe doesn't have a lot of those things dialed in or documented the way you'd like them to be, one of the areas that we support with is providing that systematic approach for your practice. It also helps you to ensure that you have all the responsibilities accounted for in your practice. And, that's not just documenting the roles and responsibilities, but ensuring that the business is protected in the event that somebody, steps away or somebody leaves the practice or somebody goes on vacation. So what we'll do is also make sure that backups are in place for each responsibility as well. And last but not least, in the theme of this service is that it ultimately helps you to be able to scale. And when you're trying to grow your business, you hit that ceiling. The solution isn't always just to do more in volume. A lot of times you simply need someone to come in, take a look at your business processes, and then allow a group like ours to share that guidance on how to create breathing room for growth. And that's exactly what this operations coaching program is designed to do. So the structure for this coaching is a little bit more comprehensive than the executive coaching, where typically we'll meet with a practice owner or maybe an operations leader bi-weekly to focus mainly on strategic practice management topics related to your operations. And in the off weeks, we will meet with the team, and during that session, we'll do things like implement the workflows and processes that we design or look at maybe potential role changes that come as a result of this implementation and things of that nature. The cost for the standard operations coaching program that we have is $2,500 per month, but we also have an expanded version that's called our Operations Coaching Plus program, where we do everything that I just mentioned, but for an additional $1,000 per month, we also handle the implementation side of everything that I've gone through. And our final coaching program is our next gen coaching service. And this service is really designed for advisors who are looking to take over the practice. It also can be for junior advisors simply looking for guidance on how to build their book of business. And in this program, we focus a lot on skill development, both as a future business owner, but also on how to build a book organically. So we'll focus on things like prospecting or, building and maintaining strong centers of influence, establishing a niche market, how to be a better leader, which often gets lost in translation of a founder transitioning his or her business to the next generation. Understanding practice financials and how to influence those financials in a way that's beneficial for the practice. And again, that all goes back to just doing more in volume doesn't necessarily mean you're going to, ultimately be better for the business long term, making sure that you know how to look at the profitability reports and balance sheets and things of that nature. And really much more is included in that. But at the end of the day, we spend a healthy amount of time teaching these skills and incorporating things like role play into the program to ensure that advisors have plenty of opportunity to build their confidence both as the future business owner and leader of the practice, but also and to be, the rainmaker as they replace that primary advisor. So the way that we model the coaching meetings in this service are that we really have two different meetings that are held each month. And the first one is a topic or training focused meeting. And in this setup, what we'll do is we'll actually provide that hands-on training to and situational leadership is what we call it to the topics that I mentioned just prior in the prior slide. And that's really meant to say that in many cases, a lot of these junior advisors that we work with they haven't gotten this type of mentorship and guidance to become the next gen business owners. And that's where the teaching element of this program comes into play. Now, the other meeting is really a one-on-one meeting where, and it's, you could call it an accountability meeting, you can call it just one that's more role specific. But in this conversation, we get more into the weeds with that advisor and we'll identify maybe skill or mindset gaps that they may be running into and use it as a chance again to role play those issues that come up with, whether it's a prospect that they're trying to build their business with, or maybe a situation that they're coming into as they become that next leader in the practice. We'll go through that role play so that when the time comes that they are in that business owner role, that they're not blindsided by, some of the situations that will come up. And the cost for this program starts at $1,000 per month per advisor, and it's phrased in that way simply just to say that sometimes we'll have additional advisors that are the next gen that we'll work with in a practice, and for those situations, we'll have them on a per advisor basis. And before I turn it back over to Tony, I just wanted to use this as a chance to recap what we've talked about today. And, I'll say in closing, really working with a coach has lots of benefits, but for us, we always go back to our mission statement, which, like Tony mentioned, is that we want to help advisors to build, live, and leave a legacy. And though this can mean different things to different people, at the end of the day, it's helping you achieve the things that are ultimately most important to you. In many ways, coaching, is it allows us to support the advisor to or the practice to arrive at what is most impactful to them through question asking and thought-provoking focuses to guide and influence them, or what we call as provide direction and throw off discouragement. But sometimes there's a hybrid where there's some telling that's involved because, we help with the consulting aspect of being keen and really dialed into this business or the industry because this is the primary sector clients that we work with, our financial advisors and their teams. So I share all that to say, whether you're focused on wanting to build a scalable business or develop a strong team, improve your efficiencies, drive growth, or increase your practice value, I certainly would encourage you to reach out and schedule a call, and I'd be happy to meet with you to explore which of these programs might be best for you. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Tony, and Tony, you can take us to the finish line.
Awesome, Ben. Thanks so much for sharing that. And thanks everyone for attending. Hopefully you got some good information from Ben and you see the different ways that we can help you, whether you're the owner of the practice or whether you're a next gen or whether you're an operations manager. We have a team of more than 25 people that provide the coaching services in all those areas, executive operation and next gen. So at this time, what I'd like to do is open it up to some Q&A, some questions. And as of right now, we don't have any. But let me just see for a minute here if someone's going to enter a question. Don't be shy. I see you guys are still on the call. One more thing I'll mention while we're waiting for some questions. If you go to our website at advisorlegacy.com, we have a number of free assessments that you can take. We have what's called the Legacy Firm Assessment. We have a Practice Health Assessment, and then we have a Buyer Readiness Assessment for those who are looking to buy practices. So I would encourage you go take those. They're free, and we'll follow up. And for those of you who are interested in learning more about the coaching services, which one is most appropriate for you, you certainly can reach out. We have a contact us page on our website, and Ben will follow up with that and tell you more about it. Well, Ben, it looks like we don't have any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. And Ben, thank you for your time and information. And to our listeners, thanks, and hopefully you'll join us in the next one. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.